My name is David Dawson, and in 2007, I was nearly burned to death in Iraq. I was working for a DoD contractor on the Iraq reconstruction program. We were rebuilding most of the major infrastructure in the country. I remember kind of vaguely getting into the shower, and really the next thing that I remembered was waking up on the floor of the shower. I do have a memory of looking down and seeing the skin falling off of my legs. I was actually hit by water that was nearly boiling at 200 degrees, as well as steam, which caused me to go unconscious. About 70% of my body was injured, bandaged head to toe, and by the time that they were done with the procedures to graft everything that had, all the skin that had been destroyed, that I was about 98% injured. A lot of the treatment I just don't recall because I was in a medically induced coma. When I got back to the United States, I didn't look really like myself. I had skin grafts on more than half of my body, and the other part of my body that hadn't been burned had been harvested, so I was bright red everywhere. My kids were coming to see me, my wife was coming to see me. When they came into the room, it was almost like they didn't recognize their dad. When I came to Klein Frank, I was at a point in my recovery where I didn't remember most of what had happened. I was in a compression suit designed to help stop scar tissue from growing. The reports that I was getting back from people who were still in the green zone was that the water was still overly hot. And so really my intention was to see if there was anything that I could do about making sure that it got fixed. What I know today about why I got burned was a failure in the plumbing system caused by just negligence of maintenance of the system. The company that was in charge of maintaining the housing was Fluor Intercontinental. They're a very large international company. I was scared to go to trial. That whole process made me very nervous. Just going back through all of the events that had happened, and by the time we went to trial, I knew a lot more about not only what had happened to me, but what the situation was that led to my injuries. Beth ended up doing, I think that was the first deposition from the country of Iraq ever to make it into the U.S. court system. Both Beth and Carrie had done a great job of preparing me, knowing what to do and when things were going to happen and where we needed to be. At trial, Carrie was with my wife and I full-time, which was an enormous help just getting through the process. I was actually asked to leave the courtroom when the primary consulting doctor who was in charge of the medical team in Germany gave his testimony. There were photos shown of my injuries prior to me waking up that kind of put me back into those places, which was very difficult for me. That was a moment where you could almost see the jury try to catch their breath from some of the things that had been stated in the evidence. I think there was a point in the trial when, in my mind, that there was no way that the jury couldn't find in our favor. When they started going through what their decisions were, it was this immense feeling of relief. It was overwhelming to hear the value that the jury had placed on what I had been through, what my family had been through. $18.78 million, and that felt really good after, well, at that point, what was it, 4 years? It couldn't have possibly been a better experience all the way through. The work that the firm has done has been exemplary, and I don't know how I would have managed just my life without having Beth and Carrie here to take care of this whole process. One of the things that I had decided very early on was that I wanted to give some of the money from the settlement to a foundation that would help both the burn victims and their families. The change for the better is going to be that I know that I can take care of my family and my kids financially for the rest of their lives. When I look at my body now, it just kind of is a new normal. And this is my new normal. My family was told I had a negative 11% chance of survival. Still being here and getting to see my kids and getting to go about my day and being a part of the living is something that I try to focus on more often than what my arms and legs and back might look like. Sometimes bad things or difficult things have very positive outcomes in people's lives. And this was certainly one of those times.